right, welcome back, guys. This is Dr. Apurva, a medical graduate from India, and I'm going to apply for internal medicine this year, Match 2022. It's my pleasure to host Zeph today, who is a director of MatchAResident, and I'll pass on to him. Hey, Zeph, tell me something about you, and let's introduce yourself to the YouTube audience.
Hey, everybody, and thanks so much for the introduction. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited to be here as well. As mentioned, my name is Zeph. I am the managing director for MatchAResident. I've been involved with MatchAResident since 2008, and I am a residency consultant, as well as someone who has a background in public health and human rights, and very just dedicated to the mission of helping educate and empower IMG. So I'm really excited to dive into some of the topics that we have for today, and I'm looking forward to get going.
Awesome. So we have somebody who is prestigious and already much experienced in match season. So we are going to address some of the frequently asked questions about the match cycle, especially match 2022, and we are also going to compare how different programs search, like FRIEDA, Residency Explorer, and how MatchAResident is different, so that you can create your customized list. So okay, let's get started one by one, and let's see how we can improve your chances of matching into the residency. Okay, so first of all, Zeph, tell us what are the best tools for completing residency program research?
Yeah, so this is a question that comes up for thousands of candidates every single year. And when you're applying to a specialty with hundreds of programs, or you're applying to multiple specialties, you're looking at potentially thousands of programs. And obviously, no one can really afford to apply to that many programs, and it's not really helpful to apply to that many programs. So typically, IMGs should be looking at a minimum of 100 of the most compatible programs for them. And for people who have more red flags in their application, or perhaps they have a long time since graduation, multiple attempts on the steps, any sorts of issues that are going to make it more difficult to get your foot in the door, it's important to expand the number of programs you're applying to. Now, there's multiple different ways you can find those programs, and we typically recommend a mixed approach because there's so many great tools, there's a lot of information out there. And so what MatchAResident provides is a customized list of all the most compatible residency programs for each individual candidate. And so what's so helpful about that is you don't have to spend countless hours and days and weeks trying to call programs. We do that for you and get the information directly from the programs. And we're able to provide insights like compatibility scores, interview link, which basically tells you which programs have interviewed candidates with similar criteria to you in the past. And combining those two tools is extremely powerful. And so we always say, start out your program research with a list that's already customized to you. And then you can additionally filter that list with the filters that are available in MatchAResident, or you can look at some of your top programs and see the extra information that's available free through tools like Residency Explorer, where there's tons of helpful and informative data points to help refine your research. So you can really figure out, okay, where are the most IMG friendly programs? What are the most compatible programs? Which programs am I most interested in based on region, whether it's a community or university-based program? And you're able to funnel your list of programs you're interested in applying to from hundreds or thousands to the best of the best.
Perfect. So I really liked your mixed approach thing. So how a MatchAResident can provide you a customized list, and then later on you can search the program according to that list. So we have various program search, we have MatchAResident, we have FRIEDA, Residency Explorer, ACGME program search. So how is a MatchAResident as compared to those program search tools?
Yeah, each of these tools has different strengths to them. So for example, Residency Explorer, as I mentioned, is a data-rich environment where they're taking all the NRMP data and inputting it into the program profile. So there's a lot of demographic information about the number of experiences, like work, research, and volunteer experiences each person in a specific program or specialty has in their ERAS application, the actual ethnic backgrounds of the people. You know, if that's something that you are concerned about in a program, it's important to see which programs actually have a diverse background of people in them. And so Residency Explorer is basically powered by a conglomeration of official services. And it's, you know, we fully support applicants using that tool because it's so informative for what it can provide. But Residency Explorer doesn't provide the most up-to-date program requirements or minimum requirements because it's essentially powered by FRIEDA. And FRIEDA gets the information through a passive approach where they're basically requesting that programs update their information. And nothing against FRIEDA or Residency Explorer in that sense, but we found that the majority of programs have incomplete data or data that has not been updated in years. And the same is even true with program websites. You know, we're doing our annual database update right now, and we're calling all the programs on the phone to get the most accurate and up-to-date information. And sometimes they tell us to go to the program website, and so often that website is still from last year. And sometimes they haven't even been updated for years. It has a copyright of 2018 or 2017 on it. And so what we found is use MatchAResident for getting that base list of compatible programs with complete minimum requirements for every single program. And then, as I said, supplement your research with additional tools and insights from these other options that are available.
Right, perfect. So like as you said, Residency Explorer and FRIEDA are like good data points, and if you want to have up-to-date information, then it's MatchAResident.
Exactly.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, so what are some crucial pieces of advice that you would like to give about supplemental application, which is now kind of a hot topic, like which is starting from 1st September. So what are your views about that?
Yeah, it's almost humorous the way the official services launch these things. You know, the first real information wasn't provided until August of the application cycle for the application, and they're expecting everybody, you know, thousands of people across multiple specialties to fill out this application and apply with it. So of course there's going to be tons of questions, and we want to help provide as much insight as possible. So I'll start with the basics, which is there is an application window to submit the supplemental ERAS application. And if you submit it between the 1st of September and the 19th, that application will be submitted to programs on September 29th, which is the big day. That's when everybody should have their applications submitted if possible. Now, if you submit it after the 19th, so September 20th through the end of September, that will not be released until October. So it's always, of course, much better to have all of your application documents ready at the beginning of September in order to give programs a complete picture of the applicants. Now, when you're filling out the supplemental application, it's recommended to actually fill out the MyERAS common application first, because the supplemental application is going to provide similar information to the MyERAS application, but you want it to be additional. It's the supplemental application. So don't assume programs are going to have your ERAS application in one hand and the supplemental application in the other hand, because review committees have all sorts of different approaches and tactics. There might be different people reviewing different documents. So it's recommended to fill out the MyERAS application first. And then when you're filling out the supplemental ERAS application, be sure to include the basic information for each of the experiences that is in the, you know, the 5 most meaningful experiences section. So don't just assume they have that info, but reiterate some of it and then expand. Try to create some added value. Don't just have a copy and paste of your MyERAS application either, because you want to provide additional insights where possible for the application.
You're right. Okay, so it's not only MyERAS, it's supplemental. That I really like that idea that you have to supplement, not just copy and paste from MyERAS. That's awesome advice here. So like there's a thing going on with supplemental program that in each specialty you can give top 5 choices and you can signal to that program. So what are your advices about that? How should you like choose those top 5 programs in the supplemental application?
Yeah, so there's a few pieces of information that I think everybody should keep in mind.
Okay.
It would make sense to prioritize those programs that you have personal connections to and that you have a chance of matching into. So if you've done rotations at a program and you're in good standing with that program and you qualify for their residency based on their minimum requirements, perhaps you've even talked to some of the attendings or residents about your interest in applying, starting from your residency network, those you have the strongest connections with are going to be your number one choice for signaling programs because they already know you. Now, in terms of, again, we're coming down to, we have a list of 150 programs I'm applying to. I know 2 of them. Which ones do I pick for the other 3, for example, out of those 148 that are left? So a couple things to keep in mind. Make sure you're compatible with the minimum requirements.
Right.
If you're not going to qualify the program, signaling to them that you're interested is unfortunately not going to be enough. So making sure you're compatible. But even more than that, making sure that you're highly compatible with the program. So looking for programs that have the interview link feature through your customized list would be a great place to start because that program has shown interest in candidates similar to you in the past. So having that iLink or interview link verification through MatchAResident's customized list is another great tool. And I would also say that if you do signal programs, I would personally recommend that you also reach out to those programs with a letter of interest, whether that's an email or even a handwritten letter, because it's extremely helpful to generate interest in you as an applicant before the peak of the application season starts. And if you're reaching out to a program, you don't need to tell them, hey, I put you on my supplemental ERAS application preference list, but just give them a solid, well thought out, personalized, unique letter of interest, talking extensively about the program and what you're interested. It should be, you're basically selling the program to themselves to show how interested you are in it. And at the bottom, you can also include the fact that you, well, I'm actually going to hold off on saying that, but a letter of intent would be very helpful for those programs that you have marked as signal.
Awesome. So if we summarize, the first thing is you have some personal connections. The second is make sure you apply to the compatible program and with the iLink in the MatchAResident program list. And the third one is the interest letter is very important in sending them because it's just the 5 programs which we are applying to. So I think that's a perfect summary of your advice. Okay, so that's about supplemental programs. So next thing, let's jump on to the hottest topic is the letters of recommendation. So how important are letters of recommendation, and do they need to be specialty specific? So what are your insights about those things?
Year after year, program directors rate specialty specific letters of recommendation as one of the most important factors for inviting applicants to interviews. So if you do not have specialty specific letters of recommendation for the specialty you're applying to, you're basically hoping for a miracle because every single program is looking for a minimum of 1 specialty specific letter of recommendation. Now, this should come from somebody that you've worked with in a clinical setting in that specialty, ideally. And so, for example, in internal medicine, it would come from an internist, and it would come from somebody that was supervising you in a clinical setting, and they would be recommending you for internal medicine specifically. Now, that's not to say you can't apply with additional subspecialty letters or even letters from a different specialty like family medicine. But the key is that you are not being recommended for a different specialty within those letters. So it's very common for some applicants to have 2 or even 3 versions of their letters of recommendation, one of which is recommending them for internal medicine, for example, and then another one might be acknowledging their interest in family medicine, and they use the ones that are specific for each specialty for those programs. So definitely make sure you have them. Start as early as possible. We're already getting towards the end of August right now, but generally speaking, it takes time to have the letters of recommendation written, to communicate with your authors. A lot of times applicants are asked to write their own letters of recommendation, so you have to go through this whole process of figuring out how to do that. Definitely recommend getting professional help with editing them, especially if you were asked to write them yourself, or if your authors maybe don't have English as their first language and they're poorly written. It's very helpful to have professional editing. MatchAResident does offer all sorts of MyERAS application, personal statement, and letter of recommendation editing through Residency Experts, which is the branch of MatchAResident where we provide editing and optimization for those documents.
Awesome. All right, so take a professional help if you're writing your own letter. That's the key thing here. All right, so of course you need a specialty specific letters, so that's a key information as well. And there's a new thing going on as far as the letter of recommendation are concerned. That's called IM-SEL, Internal Medicine Structured Evaluation Letter. And this is also something very new, just like the supplement application that they've just released the guideline just in July, and they are now applying to internal medicine. So what are your insights about that?
Yeah, so this letter is a replacement of the DOM letter, and it is from the Alliance for Academic Internal Medicine guidelines, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
And so that is where you would actually go to get that SEL template, essentially. And so what the idea is the SEL will replace the chair or departmental letter of recommendation for internal medicine. So basically, you can even have it filled out by the chair or head of the department and have them fill out this structured evaluation letter. And the reason that this is so interesting is because there's multiple facets to the letter. It's not just a page talking about how great you are as an applicant. They're actually providing national assessment data, local data, cognitive and non-cognitive factors that help rate and assess your potential and abilities within the field of internal medicine. So putting that into a more of a letter of recommendation and a report and an evaluation all in one is going to provide additional insight to your strength as a candidate. So basically it can replace one of your standard letters of recommendation. It's ideally for the department or chair letter, as I mentioned. And you would upload it the same as you would upload any other letter of recommendation through ERAS and the letter of recommendation portal.
All right. So that was a good summary for SEL. And so overall, how do you optimize your MyERAS application and the supporting documents? So what's the best way to overall strengthen and refine your MyERAS application?
One of the most important things is to don't wait till the last minute, because every single year, so many applicants are rushing to the finish line at the end of September. For example, this year, the due dates, even though it's just the first day applications are released, but as mentioned, the day that everybody's shooting for is September 29th.
Yes.
So if you don't start your ERAS application until September 20th, you're way behind. So basically, you need to start yesterday. It's so important to give yourself the time to understand all the documents, to take the time to request letters of recommendation and communicate with your authors, to fill out the MyERAS application and give yourself time for your mentors or residency coaches to review that information, and also give yourself time to edit and refine it based on that feedback. As I mentioned, residency experts, residencyexperts.com is where we offer professional editing, refining, crafting, and optimizing for the most important written sections of the ERAS application, which would be the MyERAS written sections like your work, research, and volunteer experiences, as well as personal statements, and letters of recommendation, because the truth is not everybody is a fantastic writer. Not everybody has English as a first language, but program directors are looking for refined, professional content. And they're expecting everything to be written as though you are a native English speaker, whether or not that's the case. So it is very important that you give yourself time to fill out that information thoroughly and to have your coaches, mentors review it, and to also get professional editing and optimization help if that's something that you would feel would benefit yourself.
Awesome, Zeph. That's a wonderful piece of advice for overall strength of your MyERAS application. And you said like starting early is the key. So should the applicants apply right on September 1st?
Yeah, so basically what's important to keep in mind is that for the ERAS application, everything that gets submitted from the 1st to the 28th gets released on the 29th.
Right.
With the exception of the supplemental ERAS application, which has these two windows. As I mentioned, you want to get the supplemental ERAS application in before September 19th. So it's not important to apply right on September 1st.
Right.
Because as soon as you certify your ERAS application, it gets locked in for the entire season. So if you certified it for some reason and it was your rough draft, or maybe you left sections blank, there's no going back. You cannot reopen that application. The only thing you can adjust is your personal information, like your contact and phone number, which we do recommend keeping up to date throughout the cycle. If you have a non-US phone number, we recommend getting a forwarding US phone number to include in your application, so that programs can contact you if necessary, and they see that you have a US based number as well. So basically, don't rush. Get your supplemental application in before September 19th, and aiming to have your ERAS application completed and certified by the 19th is a great goal as well, just to give yourself extra time to really focus on applying to programs, picking exactly which programs are going to be best for you, the most compatible, the optimal programs, to make sure that you're getting the most interviews possible.
Right, Zeph. So as you said, like there's even if you apply on 1st September, it's going to be submitted on 29th, and even if you apply on 25th, it's going to be submitted on 29th. So 19th is a good in-between timeline, so that you can have more time to research the programs. So that's a nice and wonderful advice by Zeph. And the last thing about our viewers is like, if they wanna have MatchAResident to create their customized list, so do we have anything for the viewers to get into the MatchAResident service?
Absolutely. We're more than happy to provide discounts for our prospective members, and we're going to leave a discount code in the description below this video, so you can get a discount off the customized list. And we'll also provide an option for getting rebates for the residency experts editing and optimization services, so that everybody has access to these tools and services that can really boost and optimize your chances for getting interviews and getting matched, which is of course our goal to help make happen.
Awesome, Zeph, awesome. All right, so we'll leave everything in the description box below, so that you can just read those things and maybe just explore what MatchAResident and residency experts are offering. All right, so very nice to have you, Zeph. So you want some like few ending lines which should motivate or like have some energy for the Match applicants 2022?
Yeah, it's going to be a long road. It's been a long road, and everybody is doing everything they can, but it's so important to make sure you're taking care of yourself. Give yourself that time to breathe, to try to relax, get exercise, do some meditation, and it's really going to help you in the overall long run of this application cycle, as well as your whole career as a physician. So I encourage everybody to, make it happen, keep grinding, but stay focused, stay centered, and stay balanced.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Apart from the academics, it's a self-help. If you are there, then the other things are there. That's awesome, Zeph. All right, Zeph. Thanks for coming in. It's my pleasure to host you on the YouTube channel, and I really appreciate your time and the way you explained everything. It was a very crisp and crystal clear about the Match Applicants 2022. Thanks a lot for coming in here. It was my pleasure. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.